All right. Back again. I'm KJ.
I'm Taryn.
And welcome back to our channel. We discuss issues dealing with the black family, the black household, as well as our NICU journey. And other videos like this one is going to be geared towards family issues that kind of shape who you are and your personality.
Yeah. And can be very relatable, especially in the African American community.
Yeah. So we're going to be discussing our family background, and because if you watched our 21 questions video, one of the things we mentioned was that our families were very similar. They were just mirrored. So a part of them being built the same was that her father unfortunately decided he didn't want to be a part of her life, and for the purposes of this video I'm going to say her birth father, because when I say dad or when she says dad, we know who we talking about. We're not talking about the other guy. And then so her birth father left her at a young age, and my birth mother left me at a young age. So that's what we'll be focusing on, is those two particular people deciding that they wanted to exit for whatever reason, and how that shaped us moving forward. There's a lot of other stuff that's mirrored as well. Of course, her dad basically adopted her, and that is who she considers her dad. And my mom, she didn't legally adopt me, but she's there. I call her my mother. So again, it's the same thing, but it's mirrored. So maybe I'll let you start off and talk about, let's give him a name.
I'll call him E.
Okay, we can call him E.
Alright, Mr. E. Alrighty, so my mom became pregnant with carrying Mr. E's baby. Hey. He wanted her to get an abortion. Just like, it's a typical story, one night stand or, couple night stands, and hey, I'm pregnant, and Mr. E's like, bye girl. So my mom said, no, I'm gonna have this baby, and I'm here. So Mr. E showed up a couple times, and then he just, dipped out. So it was just me and my mom till I was about 4 years old. And that's when I met my dad. We're going to say stepdad just for you to understand, because it get kind of confusing.
But don't.
So,
that's her.
That's my daddy. We'll just say, okay, my daddy came in. He started dating my mom when I was 4 years old, and he's been my friend ever since.
They have a beautiful relationship together.
That's my best friend. So, because Mr. E stepped out of my life when I was literally a baby, I didn't know that, kids have mommies and daddies. It was just mommy. So nothing was abnormal to me. And so then when my dad stepped into my life, it was like, okay, cool. And then it was like, okay, this is your daddy now. Like this, it wasn't like, we just became like really close, and it just wasn't like a misunderstanding, or that it just wasn't explained to me. It was just like we fell right into it. It was just like a puzzle piece coming like to each other. We just collided together. It was just like it just happened. So he's just been my dad ever since. And it wasn't until I became a preteen, about 12, 13, I started questioning, because I knew that my dad came into my life when I was 4 years old. And because I was getting older and I was putting things together, because I think I just had the birds, the bees talk with my parents. And this is when they pulled out the encyclopedia, okay, and pulled out the pictures, and this is that and this is this, okay, the old school way, okay. But now these new kids, we got Google now and everything. So
disclaimer: if your kids have phones, look in their phones.
Oh God.
Look in their phones. Especially if they're at that exploration preteen age.
Somebody's showing them something.
Yeah, look in their phone. This stuff is way too accessible these days. It's everywhere. They don't even necessarily have to be searching for it. It'll just pop up. So look in their phones. so we can head off and stop a lot of this misconceptions and stuff about, you know, sex and where babies come from.
And have the conversation.
Yeah, because...
Have the conversation before their friends have the conversation. Because they're talking about it. Because you know you was talking about it. Let's be real about it. So I was talking
let's stop this cycle, and
it's not taboo.
Let's be the parents that, you know, we wanted our parents to actually be. And the way it's supposed to be. Every generation is supposed to be better than the generation prior. So let's actually do that. Because if we don't, then it's basically Facebook and TikTok that's educating our children.
And we already know it's on TikTok.
So let's stop it, please. But go ahead.
So I was about a preteen, and you know, I started to understand things a little bit better, and I'm just like, well, I just had the birds and the bees talk, so you know, I know, my dad can't be my dad, you know, biologically. So I'm just like, okay, so who is my dad? So I started asking questions to my mom, who is my dad? And my mom was dreading the day, and it was actually interesting because I later found out that my dad wanted my mom to tell me a lot earlier about the truth about Mr. E. He wanted her to tell her the truth about it a while ago. But she just, you know, didn't want to. She wanted to wait till I came to her and started asking questions. And I can understand that. Because why create drama if it doesn't need to be? So I started asking questions, and she explained to me, you know, what it was, who Mr. E was. And she started showing me like some pictures that she had and stuff like that. And I was just like, and mind you, I'm 12, 13 years old, so these pictures of Mr. E is really old. So I'm just like, and there's only one picture. So I was like, okay. And so I really just started to question more and more, okay, to the point of, okay, why didn't he want me? Now I'm feeling unwanted. And this is the things that my mom was trying to avoid. Now I'm feeling unwanted. Even though I'm surrounded by all this love, I have a 2-parent household. I got a baby sister. You know, like I was surrounded by love. I had 2 other sisters at this point. I had 2 other sisters, 2 other older sisters. So I was surrounded by so much love.
I bring you love.
But it was just now the question of, okay, if everybody else loves me, why didn't you love me? Like, you helped create me, you know, 'cause I just learned about birds and the bees. You created me, helped, you know, the process of creating me, but you couldn't love me. How can you not love something that you created? I don't understand. And then on top of that, I later found out that he had a son. He had an older son. And I'm really questioning, okay, so you have another child, you know, but you still don't love me. You still don't want me.
So it's like, what's wrong with me?
What's wrong with me? Yeah. So I still questioning it. I just became older. My mom, she tried to, she still had contact with his sister, my aunt. He remarried, and he never told his wife about me. He never told his wife about me. I don't even know to this day if she knows about me now. And that is a coward move. I just don't understand how you can marry someone and take a vow to this person to tell them the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But yet you can't tell her that you messed up. You messed up big time. And I don't even know to this day if he has told her about me, and that's okay. That's between him and the Most High.
And the reason she's saying that is because she, and I'm pretty sure other women can attest to this, and men that are in similar situations, I don't want to leave y'all out too. When you come into a relationship and you start to build feelings and stuff like that with your significant other, if you do know that he has kids, if you're, I was going to put the hood way on it, but if you're a person of good stock, I'll just say it that way, then you would motivate that person to be with his children. Like I said, that's if you're a good person yourself, you will want that person to be in their children's lives, because by them not doing it, if they have kids with you, in the back of your mind, you're always going to be thinking, are they going to do the same thing?
Children too.
So that's the reason why, and I kind of agree, she must not really know.
Yeah, I don't think he ever told her.
Because and if she is telling him, then he's even more of a piece of for not approaching my wife. Maybe, like we said, he probably didn't really, it was probably one night stand or whatever, and he just wanted to hit it and quit it, and that's what it was. And then now he has his whole responsibility. But again, you're just a piece of, because that's not how it works.
This is what you gotta think about when you have sex.
Yeah,
okay?
It doesn't work that way.
Don't be having sex if you ain't ready for all of that.
And this is also the reason why the scriptures say that you're not supposed to lay with someone until you're ready to take care of those responsibilities. Because if you just out here thought about and doing your own thing, you can have 15, 20 kids, and you're just not being a responsible person to anybody. So now you're just out here hurting all these children, and as we said in our last video, hurt people. So, Mr. E, you're a piece of.
Oh, that means a piece of booty. So I became older, and after my mom got in contact with his sister, and after finding out that he hasn't told his wife about me, and then we tried to get him to meet with me when I was about that time I was about 12, 13 still. And he was just with the boo-boo. He was just full of boo-boo. And then eventually, I was 16 years old. Eventually, he agreed to meet me. And we met at my dad's church. My dad felt like the most neutral place that somebody can meet is probably church. And I mean, because he damn sure wasn't coming to the house. You can forget that. And my dad, I don't even remember if my dad even looked him in the face.
No, I don't hate Balboa, but I pity the fool. And I will destroy any man who tries to take what I got.
I don't remember if he even looked. I think we went to the church, and my dad went upstairs to the upstairs of the church. He just, I think he went upstairs to go watch TV or something like that. We were downstairs. I don't even think my dad, I don't think he ever came downstairs. I don't think he ever did. And I met him, Mr. E. And for the first time, I was like, oh, this is what it's like to have a parent that looks like you. Like, it was so weird. I looked at him and I saw me. I never knew what that felt like. Because I always had my dad, to make it understandable, I always had my stepdad. And of course, since he's not my biological father, of course, we look alike, because what they say when you're around somebody for a certain amount of years, y'all sort of look alike. Mm-hmm. So we kind of looked alike, but we didn't look alike. So, really, that's the main memories I remember is just looking at him like, wow, like I feel like I want to touch his face like, wow, you look like me. Like, that's what it felt like. So after I got over the awes, I started to ask Mr. E. Mr. E was telling me about himself and everything, and I felt like he was really giving me a speech. He told me about his son, my brother, and whatnot. And I asked him, I was just like, Jordy, like, what's up? Like, why did you just dip? Like, why? And he basically told me that at that time, when my mom had me, he was homeless. He knew that he basically couldn't do anything for me. He knew that he couldn't do anything for me. And he felt that the best option was for me to be with my mom because he literally had nothing for me. And I've heard that excuse a few times from a few fathers, that they felt that, when the baby came, they literally had nothing. They were just like, why am I here? I'm just, a waste of space. But for a little girl, I don't really think I think now it's starting to change. I think it's starting to change now. But back then, at that time, I don't really think dads understood how much a daughter needs their father in their life. It's our dad is our first love. We're going to embody our future husband or future boyfriends based off of how our dad treats us, how our dad loves us, how our dad tells us that we need to be treated. Tells us how we need to be treated, I'm sorry.
And shows.
And yes, and shows us how we should be treated. Mm-hmm. So having a father in a daughter's life is extremely, extremely important. He basically just, and then, and then it's hard to question, okay, understand how at that time, you know, you weren't on your feet, you couldn't, you know, you couldn't do it. But now you are. And you probably were a few years ago. So why didn't you, you know, step in or call or something? And then he felt like he didn't want to step on my father's toes. Because he couldn't, he basically, like we were talking about in our earlier video about co-parenting, how we all have our spots. We all have our roles, and you got to play your spot, play your role in the game. The issue with him was he couldn't figure out his spot in the game. He couldn't figure out he need to go first place, second place, third, fourth. Like, he don't know where to go. He don't know if he's the X or the O's. He don't know what he doing. And that's the reason why he never showed up. He felt that I had a mom, I had a dad, what do I need him for? And now that I'm older, I do have a mom and I do have a dad, thank God. You know, I don't need him anymore. I don't need him. I was given the opportunity, like after I met him in person, you know, after we said our goodbyes, we tried to continue the relationship. And as we continued the relationship, it really was this, like, he really could not find his spot. He could not find his place in my life. And because he could not find his place in my life, he just gave up. When we would talk, like, he would call me randomly sometimes. And then he started to turn into the parent that would call me my birthday.
I'm here to pick up my son. Hey, son. All right, I'm out. I'll be back next week to pick him up again.
And then that's just stopped. Eventually that stopped. And the conversations that me and him were having, it was like I was talking to a stranger. I didn't feel any type of love. I didn't feel any type of connection. This man just has my face. I felt nothing. I felt absolute nothing. I felt like he was giving me a speech. I felt like he was giving me the don't have sex, don't do drugs speech. And I've been, look, sweetie, like, we already got that part. What else you got for me? He had nothing for me. He had nothing. He had nothing for me. And once I realized that he had nothing to give me, that was it for me. That was enough for me. And so it wasn't, I think the relationship, because I found out that he had nothing to offer me, then I started to feel empty, because I realized that this personification that I made up in my head was a bunch of boo-boo. He's a bunch of boo-boo. And because of the letdown, then I started to go into an empty space of, now I'm trying to figure out who I am. I acted out in ways very promiscuously. I don't regret my actions, because my actions have made me who I am today. I don't regret my decisions at all, what I've done. I thank God that things were taken away from me. Situations were taken away from me that prevented me from being in different situations that I did not need to be in. And it made me look in the mirror and realize, okay, I'm doing too much. We're doing too much here. Let me check myself before it get out of hand. And, and that's when I met you. And, I think now it's more so now like a genetic thing. Like, okay, like what runs in my blood? Like, do I have a higher chance of breast cancer? Does somebody on his side have breast cancer? What else? Breast cancer or cancer itself, or, stuff like that, health stuff. What my ancestors, who am I related to? Stuff like that. What is in my bloodline? Just those type of questions. As far as he's concerned, I've realized that his job was just to bring me here into this world. That's Mr. E's job. And that's it. That's all. And that's okay. Because all the love and respect and I already had it. And really it's his loss. It's his loss. And that's okay. One thing I do regret is his son was killed over a bunch of boo-boo. And one thing I do regret is never having met my big brother. That is something I wanted since I was, God, a kid. I always wanted a big brother. I always wanted a big brother. And I had, and you know, and sometimes it bothers me because I had a big brother the whole time. The whole time I wanted one so bad I had one, and me and him didn't even know that we both existed. I may have walked past him and I would never knew. And now that he's gone, I still don't even know what he looks like. I don't even know what he looks like because I don't talk to Mr. E. I don't have, you know, my brother's obituary. I don't even know his name. I just know that he existed, and that's enough for me. That's enough for me. And the way that he passed away voicing his opinion. Someone didn't like it, and someone killed him. So that's one thing I regret, not meeting my brother. Even though he probably knows me, I don't know him. And you know, such is life. So that's my story, Mr. E. And I have to say, most definitely, now that I have a daughter, it's so important to me to have her father. Like I said, like, I'm sorry, you know, to the women out there, you know, there's some women out there that aspire to be a baby mama. There's some women out there that's okay with that title. That's not me. That was never me. That was never me. I was always going to be somebody's wife. And I meant what I said. So, you know, because I knew what it felt like. I know how important a dad is in a child's life. And I just wasn't trying to be the single baby mama. That's just what So the men I chose, you know, well, you can only hope that someone would take their responsibility. But the men that I chose were of a certain class, or they had certain features or morals that I agreed with, that I thought would be, you know, great for a future husband or future father. And, you know, because I aspire to be someone's wife, I am someone's wife. Okay? And the father of my child is my husband. That's just what I wanted, and that's what I did. So, you know, the fact that I have a daughter, you know, is just so important for me that he is in his daughter's life, because she needs him. Just like his son needs him, his daughter needs him as well. And I know that because my dad is my best friend. Like, I'm a daddy's girl. Like, that's it, that's all. And, you know, it's extremely important that Anaya has her father. Very important. So, yeah. That's my story.
So that was part one. We're going to do a 2-part series on this, just so that the videos don't get long. So that was part one, which was mainly, you know, my wife's perspective, or my wife's shaping, as we can say. Please join us for part 2, where I will go into my shaping, my upbringing. And then we might do a part 3 from there about really how it changed our personalities.
Oh, yeah.
And how we really view the world, and how we certain things that we now want to teach our kids. So as always, thank you for liking the video. Please share the video, please subscribe to the channel, and if no one has told you yet, I love you.